Good morning, my fellow peer runners. Welcome to another jam-packed episode of Morning Brews and Cruise News. I'm your trusted host, Trevor Shelby, here to navigate through the high seas of cruise and travel news. Today, we're looking at a calendar that tells me it is Friday, July 14th. Can you believe that we're like halfway through July already? And that it's Friday, because, I'm excited about that. But before we dive into today's agenda, let's awaken our senses and greet the day with our very first, most important sip of coffee today. What a treat. We've got, let's see, it's Crazy Cups chocolate glazed donut coffee. This is, I guess, like having a decadent breakfast in a cup with all the guilt because, yeah, it's not that healthy. So let's give it a sip and see what we got here. This kind of reminds me of the chocolate coffee on the that I had on the Carnival celebration. It's not bad. I really like this one. I'm gonna give this one a solid 8. We're gonna go 8 across the board on this one. So this one might actually the cups anyways may end up being our on our rotation. So there we go. This morning's been a little rough for me, so please excuse any, mistakes I make here. We're going to start today with some exciting news for the sea lovers out there. The Fun Ship brand, Carnival Cruise Line, just announced that it's bringing back a fan favorite benefit. I'm talking about the much-loved Diamond Lunch for their most loyal cruisers. That's in their diamond tier of their loyalty program. Brand Ambassador John Hild has revealed that the special lunch is being reinstated following feedback from Carnival's most loyal customers. And yes, your voice does matter in these things. The decision to bring back the Diamond Lunch came after John Hild presented the popular demand to the Carnival Cruise Line's executives. It seems that your love for the lunch experience has touched their hearts and their taste buds alike. That sounds weird. Hild tells us, I had a few of you write to me saying how much you missed the lunch. I sent those comments to our wonderful senior vice president of food and beverage, who told me that as of cruises starting on around August 1st, he will reinstate the Diamond Lunch with a brand new menu. Yeah, you heard that right. The Diamond Lunch is expected to kick off around August 1st with a refreshed menu. Although we don't have a firm date when each ship is going to have it in the fleet, we are assured that the Diamond level guest will receive a special event invitation from the captain. The menu looks fantastic. If you go to John Hild's page, you can kind of look it over. They've got everything from appetizers, mains, and desserts. All kinds of really cool stuff. They have some selections from Emeralds and some other things that are on there. So it looks pretty darn good. It's all about making every single Diamond guest feel extra special. Becoming a Diamond guest, if you don't know, means that you spent at least 200 cruise nights cruising with Carnival. They don't currently offer extra points for booking suites or special cruises, but a revamp of this loyalty program could be on the horizon. It's been mentioned several times by John Hild that they're looking into changing things up a little bit. On that note, other benefits may come along with the Diamond status, including an ultimate wash and fold laundry service, a guaranteed seating time request for dinner in the main dining room, and priority reservations at onboard specialty restaurants. And if you're not at least platinum, you don't realize like how wonderful that wash and fold laundry is without having to really pay for it, because like I get so many free per cruise depending on how many nights I get. And man, it's so wonderful to just be able to throw everything in a bag, give it to them, they can wash it, give it back, and I don't have to pack as much. So that's the main thing. I like kind of showing up to a cruise with what's on my back and trying to avoid overpacking. But that sounds like kind of like a cruise tip. And so we've got Actually, today we're going to do some cruise travel tips for you guys. Whenever you book a cruise, it's not all that you have to end up booking. If you're going to travel to the port, you need to also think about how you're going to get there, where you're going to stay, those kind of things. So, we're going to kind of go over some of those tips today and try to just change things up a bit today. So, my first tip is I'm going to title it The Early Bird Gets the Worm because that fits the theme of the show, I guess. Always book your flights well in advance. You can secure the best deals and preferred flight times. Don't be the person that's trying to scramble last minute to get a flight because that's when the airlines know that they got you. When you have to fly tomorrow, they know they've got you. You've got to get there, so you're going to have to pay. So, not you don't always get cheaper tickets last minute. So, and with that being said, always look out for really good deals when it comes to your preferred flight. I love going Southwest, even though they've had a lot of trouble in the past with this and that, but I prefer them. And I've been able to snag some pretty good deals. You know, like a few months ago, I got a round trip tickets from Oklahoma City to Houston, which isn't like that far for a flight, but I mean the round trip cost was right about $100. I mean that's fantastic. It's usually a lot more than that. So I was very excited to kind of snag that deal. And it was all because they had a sell. Now, my second tip is kind of look for your home away from home. Consider staying in a hotel that may be near port or near the town that has your port in it the night before your cruise. This way, you're not rushing to get to the ship the day of departure, and you have that buffer time in case there's any delays or cancellations. So one thing that's important to note that, here recently even, there's been a lot of incidences like in or around ports. And we've covered some of that in the recent news. And so think about it. If your cruise ship was delayed for one reason or another, it would be nice that your hotel that you may have, like they may not even kick you out until like 1 o'clock. That might be nice to be able to stay in there. So, and wait for you, wait for you to be able to get on that ship, because standing outside, man, if you're at Galveston and you have to stand outside, oh my God. It's not a great experience. I'll put it that way. Also, when booking your hotel, you might try to do that as early as possible. Right now, okay, so I have a cruise coming up in November in Galveston, Texas. It's also the same week as a biker rally that's going to be going on. So that's going to be really interesting because all of the hotels have gone up in crazy prices because they are just booking up like crazy. So there's like virtually nowhere cheap to stay on the island. And so you might want to look out for those kind of things that may be happening the same time that you're leaving. So I decided it was best for me to break some of my own personal rules of getting to the cruise port the day before. Now I'm going to be flying in the day of because I don't want to spend $500 on a Roach motel. So, there you go. My next tip is pack smart. Make sure you're checking those airlines requirements for size and weight. So if you're outside of those parameters, they're going to charge you an arm and a leg just to take your luggage onto the flight. At all costs, try to pack as light as possible. Last year, I went on a cruise and I just took a backpack. I'm serious. So that was what I brought. I had a perfectly fine cruise with just what I brought on my back. I highly recommend you planning on packing light as possible. Now, one tip, and this is one that I personally believe in, but not everybody else agrees with this one. I do recommend getting a travel agent, and especially somebody that can kind of take care of your point A to point B, everything. And so I have a wonderful one. I will give her name out. Her name is Amanda Barmore with Have Luggage Will Travel. I'll put her link down below. And just let her know Trevor sent you, and she'll give you the VIP treatment. And so she's a wonderful, wonderful person. And it's nice having somebody that can kind of like, that I can go to and ask questions and just kind of plan out like, hey, I need to get from here to here. What do I need to do? And she takes care of everything for me. Ground transportation, this one's important. Many hotels offer shuttle services, but get all the details. My goodness, my last cruise, we went, it took the hotel shuttle service to the cruise pier, which was wonderful. And it was a nice service. We paid for it. And we just apparently assumed that they were going to pick us up after the cruise because we paid them. We get off the ship, we're looking around, waiting. We had to call an Uber because guess what? They didn't offer return service. They weren't going to come pick us up. We didn't pay them to pick us up. We just paid them to take us down there and drop us off. We even asked the guy, which was really funny. We said, hey, where are you going to be when we get off the ship? And he's like, I'll be here. And it was like, okay. I wish he didn't confuse us, man. But... and that was just a crazy trip because when the Uber came, he left my wife's luggage at the pier. And so we gave him all the luggage and he was like packing it all in, told us to get in the car because like they were getting yelled at and stuff. And so he just left it. So that was like the worst Uber experience I've ever had. Our next tip is make sure your Uber, no, I'm kidding. My next tip is something that I'm looking into personally for a year-long plan. My buddy Gary gave me this tip. Look for a year-long, or if you don't travel very much, maybe just a one-trip insurance, okay? So these are typically cheaper than what the cruise lines offer, and they cover a little bit more here or there, depending on what you're looking for. And you may have unexpected things happen, like a flight gets canceled, lost baggage, medical emergencies, and this could all happen while you're on vacation, especially while you're on vacation. If you're losing luggage and you're not on vacation, I'm sorry, that sucks. But you don't want to stress about these things, especially when it comes to the financial impact of everything. So make sure that you are insured. My last tip is the most important. Make sure you have your documents. Keep digital and physical copies of everything: IDs, tickets, reservations, cruise documents. Make sure you got everything. Make sure if you are required to have a passport, they're going to check before you get on the ship. So you need to have that passport. If you just need an ID, look and see what travel documents you need. Pre-plan these things. Don't try to do it last minute. If you're trying to get a passport, plan that well in advance. And because you're sending off documents and they're sending it back to you, and it's a crazy process, but it works. Now, if you made it to this part of the video, I'm just kind of wondering, what is your experience with the show so far? So I've done, about 20 to 25 episodes of this now, and I just want to kind of see where things are at. I'm going to change a couple of things up, and so we're going to move the coffee review to a weekly thing. So I'm going to start featuring smaller creators of coffee, and we're going to kind of sample what they have, and we're going to do it for a solid week. We're going to talk about their coffee and have a great time. It's all free promotion for them because they're not paying me to do it, but it's something I'm more interested in, so that's what I'm going to do. And the only reason I ask this is because I'm not sure what happened, but over on Apple, the podcast got a 1-star review, but didn't get any, they didn't put in the actual review. So I'm not sure what was 1 star about the show. I do have a like thumbs down bandit. So anytime I post something on YouTube, someone hates me. So like every time I post something on YouTube, I get the little thumbs down. It's like instant too. So they are a subscriber and they more than likely know me. Like, you know what I mean? So, but I just think it's funny because like it's instant. It's almost instant or within like a few hours of me posting. And so I get that thumbs down real quick, and it doesn't matter what I post. They go in there, boop, thumbs down. And so it may just be them. So, I come to expect it now. I take constructive criticism well. When I dislike the whole thumbs down approach when people don't actually tell me, hey, I don't like how you do this. But if you feel like I'm doing something incorrectly, or if I'm doing something correctly, let me know down in the comments below. If you want, because that 1-star review, since I only have like a couple of reviews on my podcast, if you want to go over to Apple Podcasts, give me a star. I don't care if you give me 1 star. That would be great if you just tell me what I'm doing wrong. But if you would like to give me 5 stars, I would greatly appreciate it. It will offset that 1-star review and help me out a little bit. Anyways, guys, that's all we have for you today, so stay tuned for more updates from Morning Brews and Cruise News. Make sure you're subscribed. My name is Trevor Shelby. Remember, folks, life is like a voyage. You never know where the seas may take you. So stay alert, stay caffeinated, and above all else, stay cruising. Smooth sailing, Pier Runners.